Hello all, welcome to the breakdown of my new short movie, Ressurection 3. Now, if you haven't seen Ressurection 3, I suggest you watch it, because this video is not going to make much sense if you haven't seen the short movie that I'm going to be talking about for the next half an hour. Also, as you can see, this video is quite long. If there's a specific thing you want to hear me talk about, here are the time cards here, so you don't need to watch the whole thing. They're also in the description, so you can just click on it and it'll take you straight to it. But I suggest you watch the whole thing for it to make the most sense and, you know, get the full context of everything. Anyway, we start out with how I got the idea. Basically, I was binging all of the Harry Potters, as you do, and that put me in, you know, a Harry Potter mood. So I went on YouTube and I was just looking through loads and loads of fan movies. Now, trust me, there's a lot of them, okay? And I came across this one called The Elder Thieves, and I really liked it. And yeah, that's how I got the idea. I was like, you know what? I can do this. So yeah, after I watched that, I just, you know, started brainstorming ideas. And I came up with a script. I originally actually wanted to just completely recreate this Elder Thieves video, but then I was like, yeah, prob's best to make your own. But actually, if you do watch the Elder Thieves... How do you say thieves? Thieves? Thieves. Elder Thieves. I don't know how to say this word. Elder Thieves. Thieves, I don't know, whatever. But basically, if you actually watch it, it's actually very similar in plot and, you know, story to Ressurection. Obviously, there's a lot more in Ressurection, but the base story and environment and setting are quite similar if you actually go give it a watch. But yes. Yeah? Dad just dropped off some crisps for me. Anyway, back to the video. Where was I? Pretty much after I started to make my own movie, I started to make a script. So, it only took around 2 hours. And actually, the script I wrote right at the start was actually very similar to what I actually produced. I did have a bit more dialogue, but I wasn't sure on how good everyone's acting was, especially mine. Marv had quite a lot of talking in the original one. But I did take a lot of that out because your boy is not a very good actor. And I didn't want that to take away from the immersion of the movie. However, the script was probably the least amount of effort I put into the planning. There was so much more I put into the planning, and I'll get into that now. So the first thing I ever wanted to plan was how I was going to do a Sectum Sempra scene. I really wanted to do a Sectum Sempra scene because there was no other Harry Potter fan movies that actually had a Sectum Sempra scene in it. And it's such a cool scene from the Harry Potter. So I really wanted to do a scene like that. Obviously, it's not been done for a reason. It's quite hard, especially the blood. Blood is very hard to use visual effects to produce. It's a nightmare. It just looks fake all the time. So here is the blood scene from my movie. Obviously, it looks really good, and that's because it's practical. Yes, there was no visual effects in that scene whatsoever. Basically, we had a bag attached to Luke, filled with fake blood. And what we did, we attached a string onto that, put the string through his arm, and as he lay down, he had his arm out like that, and I pulled the string, opening the bag, and the bag opened up, pouring the blood all over his chest, and then it seeps through like it's come out of his chest. Now, obviously, to plan for this, I had to do a lot of practicing. I have countless videos of me testing the bag, because it's quite a tedious thing. You have to attach a bag to your chest, then attach a rope to the bag, and then pull it with the water, and then it has to seep down. Okay, so you have to get the perfect angle, perfect amount of water, so it doesn't just flop down your chest. So I did loads of practicing to get it right. I did it with water, actually, because I was too scared the blood would actually stain the clothes. Because, you know, fake blood really does stain clothes quite badly, and no way did I have the budget to get loads of pairs of clothes to just ruin. But yeah, no, I did countless tests, as you can see by the videos I'm showing you. I did, yeah, a lot of tests, but even despite all the tests, I was still very nervous on the day, because we really only had 1 or 2 takes, because we had very limited amount of fake blood, and we only had 2 white t-shirts, and you know, once you get blood on one t-shirt, it's useless. You can't wash it off, you know? So we had 2 t-shirts, so I was very nervous whether it was going to work or not. We got very lucky, and it worked out first try. As you can see by our reaction, we were very excited that it worked first time, especially me.
Holy blood.
So yeah, that worked out really well, and it looks so cool. But yeah, a lot of planning for that one scene. So the second thing I wanted to plan was the visual effects I was going to use. To do this, I made loads of little videos of me doing different effects, just trying out as many effects as I could possibly do. and seeing which ones fit the video in the best way. The third thing I wanted in the video and I needed a plan for was the masks. Now I did originally want to just buy Death Eater masks off eBay, but then I saw they were 90 bucks and I was like, no. So instead I just decided to make them myself. To do this, I bought some just plain white art masks from Ned's, then painted them with scary features inspired from the Purge movies, as the Purge movies have the best scary masks. After I was done with the painting, made them nice and scary, I sprinkled them with dirt to make them kind of look old, and then did some tape, put some tape on it and ripped the tape off to just give it like a ripped, like, ruined feeling. Just makes it look way more scarier. Overall, they turned out really, really good, really scary, and I was very, very happy with them. For my one, I added a little Easter egg. I actually put the Deathly Hallows symbol right just in my forehead area, so if anyone noticed that, you're a very good Harry Potter fan. And now for the props. I had many props in this movie, as you probably could tell, but I was actually very, very lucky in actually getting all the props for pretty much no money. I don't think I spent a single penny on props. If you don't know, I'm an avid Harry Potter fan, if you haven't, noticed already with all the posters in my room. I already had a lot of Harry Potter merchandise. I had the locket, which I used at the start. That was my sister's, just let her borrow it. Me and my sister and all my siblings own about 20 different wands that we've just collected over the years. So that was the wand sorted. I had this old looking case, which I bought in England a very long time ago, which actually contains one of the world's oldest cameras, like oldest handheld cameras. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know how to use it, but, it's a pretty cool... Oops. But yeah, it's a pretty cool camera, but the case looks really, really old, and fit really well with the scene, so I just, took this out, chucked this on my bed, and then just, used this to hold the Elder Wand. However, there were a few props that I didn't have. The tent I got from my friend Samuel, and the lantern and leaf blower used when I did the combining spell in the air. I got like one of my friends to hold the leaf blower on my face to get the wind of the spell. Makes it look so much cooler. But yeah, I needed a wireless leaf blower, which I literally asked all my friends if they had one. And then right at the end, like 2 days before the shoot, right before I was actually just gonna buy one myself, Blake said he had one, so that was brilliant. And then he also had a few like lanterns and that, which just set the scene in the camp area. But overall, very lucky with the props. Yeah, didn't need to buy a single thing, so that was awesome. Now for a big challenge, the costume. So I started off with just going to literally every charity shop possible looking for old clothing, especially a trench coat, as I really wanted a trench coat. They didn't have any, I don't know why. I thought charity shops would have old clothing, but turns out they didn't. So yeah, I was on the brink of just like, you know what, stuff it, let's just wear casual. But then my friend Arjun said he had a really nice trench coat, and yeah, he gave it to me and it looked absolutely brilliant. And then also my friend Ilya had 2 old looking jumpers as well, which we used. And then for the leather jackets, I just had those spare, and Luke bought his like motorbike jacket as well. So yeah, initially it was very hard. I was very stressed that I wouldn't get any decent costumes, especially after I went to like 20 Salvo stores. But yeah, no, all my friends actually had them anyway, so it wasn't really much of a problem. Now, the final part of the planning was the casting. Now, I actually thought this would be way harder than I thought, as from experience planning mass collaboration videos, it's very hard. We're 18 years old, we're all very busy, we have jobs, university, school, stuff like that. It's very hard to plan mass collaboration videos like these, especially like these, that take like whole days. Also, the COVID-19 outbreak, as you probably know by now, was starting to, spike in Australia. It wasn't that high, but it was on a big rise. So I was like, I can't just like wait 3 weeks for a day that everyone's free. I need to film this as soon as possible, because we're probably going to go into lockdown very soon. So yes, I was very stressed finding a day that everyone was free. So literally on a Tuesday, I texted all my friends saying, hey, you down to film a short movie this Saturday? Like 4 days before. And literally everyone was free. It was the most luckiest thing that's happened in my entire life. Everyone was free that Saturday. So I was like, wow, that was so unexpected. So yeah, I do admit I got very, very lucky with that. But yeah, no, everyone was free that Saturday. So we did it then. Okay, shooting day. The morning was very stressful. I asked everyone to be here by 10, as it was about an hour and a half's drive to Kaipo. So it was a very long drive there and back. and I had no idea how long it would take. Literally, I had no idea. I'd never filmed a short movie before. I had absolutely no idea how long it would take. So I just wanted to maximize as much time there as possible to make sure I filmed the whole thing. And oh boy, am I glad I did that. Literally, we were flat out for 4.5 hours. No food, no breaks whatsoever. We were flat out for those 4.5 hours filming. And yeah, very intense. So for those complaining that it wasn't long enough, literally I could not have made it any longer if I tried. So the whole day, as it was intense, it went very, very smoothly. The only like kabuckle we had really was when the ranger came. That was a big scare because he just came down in his car. We had the tent up and everything, and he was just like, you need a license to film. And I was like, oh no, we're going to get kicked out. And he was like, yeah. So he was like, you need a license to film and you're not really meant to be here because of, you know, the COVID-19. Even though we weren't meant to be on lockdown, you know, it was like advised to, you know, have social distancing and that. So I was like, he could just tell us to leave any second if he wanted to. So I was dreading that, but you know, I was as nice as possible to him, and he let us continue to film. But yeah. So pro tip: make sure you're allowed to film there before you actually go. Also, don't film in the middle of a pandemic because that's not always the best idea either. But other than that, the day went very smoothly. Everyone was pretty happy. And yeah, that was shooting day 1 was pretty good. Now shooting day 2 was obviously much shorter. It was just that night part of the start. We actually only had 2 people to do that. It was just me and Blake, who actually filmed that one. If you actually look at the second Death Eater that holds the tattoo up and calls Marv, that was actually me. If you didn't realize, he probably did realize, but yeah, that was me. I actually had to double cast because no one could have make it because it was like 10 o'clock at night. It was the Sunday after we filmed, so everyone was very tired and very busy. So yeah, it was just me and Blake, and I think his girlfriend came along. She helped tilt the camera at one scene. Being 10 o'clock at night, wearing Death Eater masks, we did definitely get a few weird looks, but other than that, it went very smoothly. And yeah, that's pretty much it for all the shooting. Okay, and now on to the VFX. Now, for those wondering what editing programs I use 3 different ones. I used After Effects, Premiere Pro, and VideoPad. And I'll tell you why I used 3 in just a sec. So let's start off with After Effects. After Effects is, if you don't know about it, it's a one that's used to pretty much create visual effects, and that's what I used it for. Now, in After Effects, I used 3 different plugins to produce the spells and pretty much all the effects in the movie. The first one was Video Copilot's Sci-Fi Extension Magic Effects or something like that. I don't know what it's called. Basically, it's just a pack with a ton of magic effects that you can just drag and drop in and then morph accordingly to your scene. I think it's around $120 to $200 to buy. It's quite expensive. Did I pay for it? The other plugin I used was a plugin called Saber, also by Video Copilot. Now, this is actually a free one this time, so if you want to check it out, you can download it for free now. Basically, Saber's used to make lightsabers in movies, and that it's a very good plugin. I've used it many times. But I realized if you actually shorten the saber, add a preset onto it, like a heat preset, change the color, and then keyframe it across the screen, it actually kind of looks like a spell. So I used the Saber plugin to do the spells where you could actually see it flying across the whole screen and then hitting like a shield or whatever. So yeah, I kind of like intermingled between the Sci-Fi pack and Saber to, you know, just mix up the look of the spells. Third plugin I used was a heat distortion, again, also by Video Copilot. I think this one's about $10 to $20. I didn't pay for it. Yeah, no, it's quite cheap. And basically what I used this one for was to make the distortion, obviously the heat distortion around the spells. So it looks like the heat from the spell is, you know, moving the air around. I did this by adding it to an adjustment layer over the whole thing and then masking it around the spell, changing a few settings to look like it's actually affecting the air around it. Now for the explosions, I actually had never really done explosions before this. Never, so I was a bit cautious on how to do them. They weren't the best, as you can probably tell, but they turned out alright. Pretty much I used 2 clips from Production Crate. It's like kind of a sand flying clip and like, I don't know how to explain it, just a breaking of ground clip. I combined them along with a muzzle flash from the Sci-Fi pack, which I explained before, and I combined all them together to kind of create an explosion. Now to track it along as the camera moves, you want the explosion to happen on the ground, and then as the camera's moving, it moves along with the camera. And so it looks like it's hit the ground and then it's moving along the same place it hit. Now to do this, I actually tracked a stone on the floor, attached it to a null object, so the null object was following the stone on the floor in the same rate as the camera was moving. I then parented this null object to all three of those effects, so it would all move at the same time with the camera, and that was pretty much it. I won't get into detail of how I did everything. There's obviously a lot more. I may make an in-depth video if people are really interested, but yeah, I don't really want to get into it because it'll take a very, very long time. Premiere Pro I used to pretty much just put all the effects together and do the sound design. Now the sound design I thought would be an easy task. No, it's not. Because I recorded the whole thing with a phone, if you didn't know, whole thing is recorded with a phone, budget safe. The sound wasn't the best.
Stop it.
I'm not kidding, I reckon 95% of the audio in the movie is completely fake. I just dubbed it over. I reckon I spent 3 to 4 days just dubbing over audio. So all the speaking, all the movements, all the walking, any kind of movement, the movement of the locket, all of that is completely fake. I've just dubbed it over the top. Here's a video of me doing the forest scene. I set up like a little thing in my room where I'd run in time with Aiden and Luke. To get the footsteps. So yeah, I did loads of dubbing, which was a very painful process, but it turned out pretty well. If you do look very carefully, you can see, you can see it's not actually the real audio. It did take a lot of work, but overall it did turn out pretty well. And now for VideoPad. Now VideoPad's a very old video editor, and the only reason I actually used it was because Premiere Pro was just exporting it in really bad quality. I have no idea why. I've used it for years, and I have no idea, but Premiere Pro just decided to export everything I was doing in a really bad quality. So what I had to do, I had to painstakingly rebuild every single cut in the entire Harry Potter movie in VideoPad. Now VideoPad is a very non-advanced video editor, so it was so painful just cutting everything together. I've forgotten how to use it, and yeah, a very painful process. When I exported it, it was a really good quality, but when I uploaded to YouTube, the compression just tanked the quality again, so it was probably a waste of time. So yeah, that was pretty much the visual effects about it. I don't really want to get into detail because this video is already long enough, but yeah, that's how I pretty much did all the visual effects in this short movie. And now onto the story. Now, when I was writing the script for this, I did kind of have an idea where I wanted Marv's character to go and what would happen to him, but I didn't really think about it before I filmed. However, I got in a massive conversation with Blake's girlfriend. She is a even bigger Harry Potter fan than me. Like, I thought I was the biggest Harry Potter fan ever. Like, I'm obsessed with it. She was telling me inaccuracies with the timeline. Like, I was talking to her about stuff. She was like, actually, no, that's not right with the timeline. This. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Which I very rarely say about Harry Potter stuff. So yeah, no, she was a big help, and she pretty much just made a whole timeline for me, and we talked for about an hour, me, her, and Blake, of just about the whole storyline, and literally we have a whole trilogy and a sequel like planned out. Like, we have some such good ideas that I'm so excited to make. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Obviously, this is Resurrection 3, so there's 2 prequels before this. Obviously, Resurrection 2, he's getting the Resurrection Stone. This one, he was getting the Elder Wand. And the first one, he's getting the Invisibility Cloak off, like, 65-year-old Harry Potter, because this is obviously set in 2040. So that's going to be very exciting, especially with Harry Potter. I have some awesome ideas to do. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for them. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say any more. But trust me, you want to subscribe, and you want to see the next ones, because especially if you're a Harry Potter fan, it's going to be very exciting. And trust me, first short movie is always the worst. It's only going to get better from here. So yes, definitely stay tuned. Okay, and now on to the final segment, what I learned. Now, I learned so much. This short movie isn't very good, if I'm being honest, for my standards. It is very good, and I'm very happy with it. But there's so many things I would have liked to change. So I'm just going to go through a few of the things I've learned, and I will definitely implement into my next short movies. First thing is to record decent audio, okay? I didn't think audio would be such a problem, but trust me, it is. It literally added around an extra week onto the release date, and it was a big hassle. So yes, next time we'll record much better audio, so I don't need to do as much work, and the audio obviously sounds more real. Another thing is, on shooting day, think about how you're going to edit it. Now, I tried to do this as much, because I did learn this before, to think about the effects as you're shooting. But there was one scene where I really didn't, and I really need for the future to think about how I'm going to edit this effect in post as I'm shooting it, so I can make it as easy as possible. I am talking about the second apparition when I apparate in with the 2 Death Eaters. There is a huge mistake there. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Watch it now, and you watch it very carefully. Look in the background, especially Luke. There is a big error that you probably didn't notice, and it bugs me so much, and it's literally just because I didn't think about how I do the effect. Because when I apparated in, obviously I walked in, and I got rid of me walking in, but I walked in too early. If I just waited an extra 10 seconds before I walked into the scene for the apparition, there wouldn't have been that mistake, which you've probably looked up now and saw. So yeah, think about what effects you do before you shoot them. And the final thing I learned was to not use copyrighted music. Literally, I'd finished this like a day and a half before the release date, and I was very happy. I was like, I'm just going to relax now. I'll film this video so I can release them at the same time. But I did like a test upload to then schedule it, and it got instantly copyright claimed, and I couldn't put it on YouTube. Literally, it would block it in about like 20 countries. So I was panicking because I'd set the release date and I had 1 day to finish it. So literally, the next day I spent, I would say, 9 to 10 hours just listening to copyright-free music and seeing what fits, because you edit the video to the music in the background, okay? So adding new music in, it's already edited the previous music, so it is so hard to find copyright-free music that actually fits into the thing. And I was almost in tears multiple times because I was just like, I can't do this. I can't possibly get all copyright-free music that fits and is up to my standard. But I did, luckily, and I was very, very happy with it, and very happy I actually managed to do it. Obviously, it's not as good. If I can't actually show you the original. It did have much better music. But yeah, no, the copyright-free music did actually turn out better than I thought it would, and I am still very happy with it, especially since it's copyright-free. So yes, that was all what I learned. That's pretty much about it for the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I know it's been a very long video. If you watched it all, then thank you so much. I hope you learned a lot and found it interesting. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Have an absolutely fantastic day. Stay safe, and see ya.